Uh, you know what is something that an ugly girl can never say? I treated myself to a solo date today. That's something that only a attractive, pretty girl can get away with. Is talking about your day about I put chili paste on my oysters and I treated myself. Because you know what? You know what the comment section would be if a average to below average looking girl, to the masses. I am not someone to grade. Of course not me. I would never sit there and say a woman is not attractive, very attractive. Because you know what? That's very mean spirited at heart. No one asked. No one asked what the fuck Clint thought about your appearance. But it got me thinking. I always hear this trend about taking care of yourself, you know. Sometimes you gotta take yourself on dates because us boys are crusty, crabby patties of men out here, you know. We promise you the formula and we laugh like SpongeBob. Man. And we're cheap with our money, like Mr. Krabs. And yet they want to order the whole crabs menu. I don't know what's with ladies and crabs, you know. Well, hopefully not that type of crabs, because then we have a different problem. No amount of melted butter can fix those type of crabs. I can tell you that. Not from experience, because I don't have crabs. Never have. I don't even know what they are. Is it an itch? Is it a rash? Does it turn red? I don't know. At least it's not an imitation crab. All right. But yeah. Now, you know, this, I was overhearing a video where a lady was, you know, it was one of those live stream things or one of those talking to her fans type of thing, you know. All the power to her. It's like, you know what? I treated myself. I went to the gym. And I went on a solo date. It's like, no, you just went somewhere to eat. It's not a date. Like, I understand a date doesn't necessarily have to be the formal way we look at dates. But, I'm sorry, a date has to involve a second living organism. You gotta at least be pathetic enough to bring your dog or your cat. I'm sorry. I mean, it'd be kind of weird if you brought your kid and called it a date, but, you know, whatever. But you can't take yourself and call it a date. You're just going somewhere to do something, and that's fine. But it's almost like I feel like we have this, we always feel this need, you know, on a deeper level issue, you know. I'm not shitting on people, per se, that always want to make themselves appear better out there than what actually is. But, you know, it's just kind of, I think it's this obsession to feel like we gotta kind of feel like we're a part of stuff. It's like you can go out in public, do stuff in public settings where there's other people, and it not be considered a social typical thing that you do. Because it's almost like if we just say we went somewhere, it's like, oh, you just ate by yourself. It's like, no, I went on a solo date. It's like, so, okay, so you went by yourself somewhere. That'd be like me saying, not everything you do is because anything could be a date, right? Like, you could take a girl to the pond, call it a date, you know? Show her the ducks, and show her that you got your ducks in a row. And she'll snipe it from afar. And tell her, like, hey, I once watched American Sniper. Me and they do have nothing in common, but hey, I'll kill a few unwanted individuals if they come in our house. But I don't know. I think it'd be like me coming on this podcast saying, hey, I'm on a solo date right now, you know. I went on a solo date earlier. I went to the gym. Like, everything is this solo act. And, you know, it's pretty, this Gen Z, I don't know what I'm part of, but this whole thing of the obsessionness of doing everything yourself, right? We don't really have real community anymore. Like now there's these run clubs, apparently, where people are using these run clubs to replace dating apps. But I guess it's more of a normal way to meet people because at least you're meeting people with common interests. See, that's more of a legitimate way to meet people. But at the same time, there's supposed to be run clubs to get people to run together. But really, it's just, attractive beings coming to one place and probably barely running. They probably run half the race and then they run to a nearby porta potty and dump a few things. I don't know how sad that would have to be for. I don't know how horny I would have to be to do anything in a porta potty. I don't think I could do it. Believe it or not, I have standards. I don't know what else I would do in a porta potty other than porta potty stuff. You could justify going to a bathroom, doing some unbathroom things. You can't justify going to a porta potty. Really, you can't justify going to a porta potty in any circumstance. But you certainly can't justify going to a porta potty and doing anything but porta potty stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Now there's these group meets for run clubs, which really, when you look at it, is really, it's just social gatherings of people with common interests, and people of the opposite sex meet each other and they do things that people of the opposite sex do with each other. But nowadays, it don't matter if it's opposite or even the same or same opposite or confusion. But people are mad because it's ruining their run club, It's like, oh man, we want people that are serious to run through these streets and occupy traffic that no one ordained or sanctioned with the police, causing a lot of inconveniences in these heavy populated areas. Run club. Like, who the fuck, honestly, I don't want to be that guy, but who the fuck, is let's have a run club? It's like, have a fitness club. Don't have a run club. There's no purpose. You're not, have a fully sanctioned marathon event is one thing. That's cool. But creating these run clubs of just randomly, hey, 5 p.m, we're going to be running through this downtown area where there's the most traffic, where there's schools getting out, and we're just going to stop fucking traffic, and there's nothing that's safely navigating it, and we're just going to interfere with everyone's fucking day with these 8,000 people that no one asked to be running with their shirt off. But yeah, good times. But people are mad because now it's like, oh, this is how sad it's gotten. It's like, yeah, how sad it's gotten is that people meeting in person to potentially meet people with similar interests that they may or may not like or may not have similar interests. You know what that used to be called? Hobbies. It used to be called socializing. But now, the lengths we have to go to have it protected in a way where we have to go through all these loopholes just to meet people and do simple things. It's kind of odd. It just goes shows everyone's so afraid to just be like, hey. Because, no one wants to run with 5,000 people next to them. It's you just want to run with the couple people or you're friends with or your potential lady friend. I do notice, here's my thoughts. Here's my view on my point of view on these things. I notice that guys and girls, right? These come from young guys and girls, young adults to middle-aged to married folks, at 60, 70-year-old. People only want to do these going out of your way unnecessary activities with people when they actually don't have an everyday life with that person, whether it's your boyfriend or your husband or your girlfriend or your lady friend. It's only when you're trying hard to impress people that you want to sit there and go running with someone. Like, who wants to actually sit there and run with someone every time you go for a run, you know? And that maybe sound like that I'm someone that, oh, you never want to do anything with people. It's like, no. But I do notice that I do think it's human nature that when you're trying to impress someone, you want to do like all these things to show that person, you know, effort or something. It's like young teenage dating type of stuff. And it's kind of sad to see, you know, the older I get. Because I see the extent young men feel like they have to go to make what they feel like they have to do to make a girl like them. And it takes so much time out of their lives. They're spending money they don't have. They're stealing the parents' car that's not theirs. They're using gym memberships that aren't theirs, you know. They're doing all these things. And you can tell a girl doesn't really like them. But hey, we all got to learn the hard way. Neato. But it's odd because I really feel like going back to the main point of this is these run clubs, these socializing. My overall view of how socializing has kind of progressed. It has progressed to extreme optics, loopholes, and crazy social gathering events, partially influenced by social media, just to have an incentive to actually connect with people. Because that's how disconnected we actually are as individuals. That we rely on Jesus. Jesus. No pun intended. But yeah. But before I continue, welcome to episode 283 of the Often Be Podcast with Clint Nelson. I'm your host, Clint Nelson. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Most important, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to suck some titties. Yeah. Man, I'm a little rusty. It's been a whole week and a half since I've recorded some shit. But yeah, recording this at 11:56 p.m. Eastern on June 28th, 2024 for the archives. For some reason, I woke up today and I felt like it should have been like some time zone change or some eclipse. I don't know. It just felt, you know, sometimes you wake up and you're like, I feel like time went back an hour before or ahead. And that wasn't the case. I actually looked it up. It's like only that happens like twice a year. But I don't know. There's your fun fact for the day. But yeah. You know what else? You know, on a lighter note, you know, compared to all that, if you made it through all that. On a lighter note, two important things in the world. I really feel like that Burger King is a really low effort. It's the epitome of just low effort. I have never, you know, my standards are pretty low for food in general. In terms of when I go places. But you know what? I'll admit, advertisements, they're one hell of a... They actually work. Because, you know, when I see advertisements that day, I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop by. I'm going to check it. I haven't been to one in a while. Let me just get something small to eat. Gotcha. I go there. 12 fucking minutes. No one in line. These people, and I don't mean these people. That sounded weird. But I felt bad because these kids, not even kids, like some older than, I don't know. They couldn't get the register to work. It's like, all right. They're like, hold on, we got to wait for this guy to come back from break. I'm like, you got to wait for a guy to come back from break to put in an order? I get it. I used to work at these places. I know how it works. I know you got to like log in and, you know, all this stuff. I know. I wasn't going to be a dick about it. I was in no time rush. But have you ever went somewhere that you had previous not reparations about, but you had previous, just like, I don't really feel like dealing with what comes with this place to begin with. So in order to justify going here, everything better be quick, easy, not too bad, right? And when it's a place that you already have a lack of trust with, you already have a issue because the audacity of them to actually charge 40 cents for a slice of cheese, even after me waiting 10 minutes, you couldn't even fucking take the cheese off. Like, what the fuck? And God, they ain't kidding when they say the Whopper Junior is a junior. Like, it's like junior for my wife and kids, you know. Except his head was bigger than that burger. But it's just like when, and then I like, as I'm standing around waiting 10 minutes to put in this Whopper Junior order, I look at the playground. And it is the definition of bare minimum to call a playground. From the outside, it's like, man, they got a playground. You go inside, it's a slide the side of my dick. All right, it's just like, shoom, you know. It's got a nice little curve, but you know, kids literally take 2 steps, go down. You know, it's a very uneventful. I'm like, wow. Burger King just doesn't put any money into anything, you know? It's just terrible when you go to these places, these mass corporations, and the effort level is just, they put all this effort into creating a modern exterior to creating advanced kitchen, and then like they have a old ass computer system. They have a playground that had no fucking, like, honestly, just better not having a fucking playground. I don't get it. Like, that literally does not change a kid's experience when they go there. But yeah, and there's that whole presidential debate that, honestly, who the fuck asked for it? I'm sure it was entertaining. I've not seen a single clip from it. All I hear from, you know, I guess the cable news, because that's all that fucking, all it is about how, of course, Biden can't speak, and that it didn't even really seem like, probably like Trump went in on him, because it didn't even seem like he dominated. It was just when one person is so incompetent on speaking, one person, I guess just the fact that they can speak language, by default, they're going to just appear to be better in terms of speaking. But I think it's just go like, why are we having a debate between a current president and someone who is not gonna be running for president? Someone was just indicted or quote unquote on the charges and all that stuff. I don't know if any of it's true. It just seems it's the most random ass fucking thing. There's no like, I know there's a presidential election, but at the same time, it's like, it just doesn't really, it seems the most random ass. Why is it on one TV network? That seems a little one-sided. Like, shouldn't it just be on a, like, ABC, someone who doesn't have like a bias? Why does it gotta be on a political TV network? I don't know. It just seems like our obsession with a lot of things that don't matter. And you know what got me thinking? You know, presidential elections and presidents in general, it really is like, dare I say, religion. It is one of the dumbest things that we as Americans specifically, we have such an obsession and sensitivity to get mad about shit that none of it fucking matters. And I may say some shit that people are going to have issues with, but so be it. I'm not saying that laws and stuff don't matter. Obviously they do. But honestly, in the modern era, what laws. There hasn't been any laws in the past like 10 to 20 years that have greatly affected individuals' lives. Like everything's pretty much set in stone. These presidents don't really fucking matter. They are just speakers to people who are actually running shit behind the scenes. It's not even really theory. Really, the president, if you went to any type of typical understanding of how government works, they are not even the most important branch of the branches. Like, they're the middle branch, the executive branch. Like, the Supreme Court is above them. They can have all the laws go through them. They can veto a bill before it goes to the Supreme Court. By the end of the day, the Supreme Court has to approve all this shit. So it really doesn't matter what laws. They are just, they make decisions on how we operate in certain ways, but they're really just speakers. They're more the speakers of, there's more the messenger, which is maybe like why it really shouldn't matter someone's political views of if they're president. It should really just be how good of a communicator someone is, because most of their job is communicating a consistent message to the people, right? We the people. We beat Medicare, right? I don't even know what the fuck that means, but that's what a lot of people took away. I wish I could take Medicare out of my checks. But that and religion is one of these things, because we fight over different branches. I guess we call it branches of religion or Christianity. You know, we got Presbyterian, we got Catholic, we got Roman Catholic, you know, all the different ones where it's just subtext of the same thing. It's slightly different beliefs of how it happened. But what's always weird about this stuff is, I think it's weird for people to get obsessed with over God and Jesus and the source, because the source of it doesn't really matter at this point. Technically, every single person on this earth is related. From the singular source of whoever the first two people, however you believe it, or multiple people that are dropped on this earth mate, we are all come from the same source. So the only thing we could do is just try to date as far out from the source in terms of years, so we don't have kids with disabilities, you know. Too many, you know, and you'll end up like the Whitakers. Just avoid inbred as much as possible. That's the moral of the story. But it's kind of ironic. It's called inbred, when in reality, wouldn't you want a lot of bread in the family? Talk about keep it in the family. But I don't. It's just one of those things that people have this attachment to it, and it's all passed down from you were born and raised in religion, or how it was explained to you, how much emphasis was on about it. Like, you got to have a strong faith in something. I think that's the biggest thing. You know, we all need faith. We all need guidance. But I think the thing that turns me off, and I think people, I was fortunate, I didn't grow up in a household where religion was pushed. It was one of those things where it's like, we had friends that went to church. Anytime I asked parents about it, like, yeah, you know, whatever. You know, they didn't say anything wrong with it, but they're like, yeah, you know, Michael Vick's on right now, so you know what? I don't want to waste my Sunday going to commingle with, you know, the Jeffersons. Which really, when you think about it, like, it's one of those things where people hear religion and there has to be this heavy obsession to get mad about something or to get upset about something. If you're just like, I don't think it really matters if someone believes in God or not in terms of the quality of the life before, during, and after. There's my hot take. Because you know what? We see it all across the board. People that are strong leaders, or people that are strong in their faith, their lives don't necessarily, there's examples across the board where their lives don't become better throughout their whole lives. There's people who have no faith. Sometimes they're on the other end of the spectrum. They worship some things that, only ironically God can judge, right? And somehow they live the best lives on this earth. Now people will say, well, they're going to pay for it. It's like, well, they may pay for it, but, you paid for it by focusing on the wrong things, and I think my biggest takeaway with religion, and I think the reason why it doesn't actually teach people to be leaders, and this is coming from someone, I'll be honest, I've never fully read the Bible. I've never fully read really any of these text books or these book of texts or these texts of Psalms and teachings. But I've lived long enough to be around enough people who have and how they talk about things. And you don't have to read some to kind of know really what it's about and what you actually see from a large sums of people that follow this so strongly. What I notice is it doesn't actually create leaders. Ironically, you just continuously believe that there's going to be a leader there to guide you through this life. And you never actually trust your human instinct, your experience to actually develop and actually lead your own life. And it's always at submission of someone else or something else. And it always kind of has you believe, and to me, it always kind of makes you have this entitled belief that just because you believe something, that you're taken care of. And I think that's why we see a lot of the issues we have today. It's entitlement. A lot of religion believers are entitlement. I think it's not that people are wrong for their faith. I think what it is that misguided faith can really lead people astray and having a little bit too much hope in themselves. They're not realistic with themselves. I'm someone, I have blind belief in myself. And for better or worse, it works in some ways and maybe some ways it doesn't. But it has nothing to do with my religion or my faith. It really doesn't. I think it's a tool that was designed maybe just to keep people from offing themselves. Because sometimes this life for a lot of people can be miserable. And the only way to justify the misery of this system we have set up is, through trials and tribulations, that's where the strongest stand up, that type of bullshit. It's true, but, it's a business at the end of the day. It's crazy how we have designed something, right? Something that should be one original text that was made one time from the one person that wrote it, however it's been translated across all these different things, right? Somehow we have found a way to translate one text, and over time it has meant so many different things that we have all these subtexts of religions, right? Of this version, that version, this version of Christianity, this version of Judaism, this version of, name the religion. It's across the board, We have all these, I call them subdivisions, And I think the thing that kind of gets aggravating about is we have people that the only way, ironically, it's supposed to be one of those things that unites and brings community to people, but we dividing these different things to separate people. Like, even though there's a common belief, we have to separate it some way, right? Kind of like race, when you really think about it. It's like everyone really is the same across the board of how we're all put on this earth, but we put people in different situations based off over time, circumstances, and location, and how we have convinced people that being treated a certain way is normal. So it's kind of like that with religion. There's a superiority that, oh, the way we think is more of the way of this. And now we have ways, and the only way it could be profitable is if now we have these mega churches, these pastors. Somehow, now I'm not saying people shouldn't be able to make a living, but y'all know what I'm talking about. How is something that you have not created yourself, you have not contributed a single thing to the actual original source? You didn't write the book. That's why they always call it spreading the word of God. So you're just spreading someone else's message. There was no original fucking thought in the shit that you're spreading. Is someone or something else's message, whatever your belief is, and you were just capitalizing on something that you had absolutely fucking nothing to do with. And I don't mean to curse, like, it's not, I'm not personally like demonizing it, no pun intended, but you know, your day's coming, because I think you stealing someone else's work, thievery, and capitalizing for your own gain is, I'm assuming that's somewhere in the Bible or whatever. What you're doing is worse than someone that's just saying like, yeah, I don't know about this. You know? How is someone that doesn't believe in that more toxic, or people you need to stray away from, than people who will convince you that spreading a word that they had no original thought into is the way to live? I don't know. That's why that shit irritates me more than than politics. Like, that's the thing. Like, politics and religion are the two things that we get the most mad about. And they are literally just these self-infused, in our head, we want something to be upset about, so we man make them. Or a woman make them, you know. Because now women want to have a say. I'm kidding. I think. You do notice, which I know it's by design, there really aren't many women pastors because they end up sleeping with everyone. Because I watched a documentary of, this is actually this YouTuber, I think she's called The Good Girl or something. He does these random documentaries about shit, whatever. It's actually really good stuff. Did one about, I think it was a woman in Tennessee or something. She had like her own little local church and stuff, and it became kind of like a mega church in her town. And then she started sleeping with like a really young guy and all this stuff, you know, all the good stuff. It's how they all go. All these pastors, they're either, you know, gay or sleeping with underage women or sleeping with hookers and don't pay them. It's like, hey, if you're gonna sleep with a hooker and you got a status to keep, that's something you might want to pay a little extra for, you know. Whatever to shut them up, you know. But what do I know? I guess the donations were a little low that month, right? But that's the thing, you know. When you really think about, and I was discussing this, you know, I had actually a pretty extensive discussion with it that went a lot better and smoother than what's going on right now. Yeah, believe it or not, it's easier to actually talk to a human being than talking to yourself. It's crazy. But I think the issue that I have with religion in the general sense is it doesn't actually have you really focus on really have a real good understanding of the source of the problem, right? It has you focus on this and that, all these other things, but like it doesn't really. I'll give this example. Does it really matter if it was a God that created you, or does it matter if it was this person or that person that created all of us? Does it really matter if your parents were a piece of shit and didn't take care of you? Because at a certain point, it's up to you to want to do better for yourself or change that about you when you get to a certain point in life. I think that's the thing, right? Is we want to focus on, because the beauty of the story, the beauty of the origin of everything is always a lot more fascinating than sometimes the reality of it. It's always nice to look back. It's like looking back at your first love, or looking back at, the first time this happened, the first time that happened, It's always good to always look back. And never actually after a couple generations, who gives a fuck about who your great grandfather was in 1748? Does it really matter? Shout out to whoever my great grandfather is, but I barely know anyone past my great. That's just reality. Like, I think it's good to know your family history and stuff, but at a certain point, you not having the most optimal, what is it called? The most optimal family situation and the most optimal parents that were flawed human beings to begin with. Are you just going to blame that shit your whole life? Are you always going to say Jesus is going to put... Because Jesus is like, yeah, hey, you know what? Jesus created those people too. He taught you to overcome adversity, right? Well, you know what? He put me in this situation because he knew I could handle it. It's like, yeah, I don't think he planned to give you a meth addict of a mother. I really don't. And I don't think he planned to give you an axe murderer for a dad. But hey, you know what? Maybe he did mean to do that. Maybe he did mean to create people who would purposely be serial killers. I don't know. That sounds like it makes sense. That's not really how it works, though. Someone could give you the seed of life, but it's up to you how you grow that seed, right? Damn, look at Clint being an asswipe. It just feels that it's always just a built-in excuse. I think that's the thing. I don't know why I woke up today and I'm like, you know what? Anyone can catch these strays today. I don't give a fuck. I'm overworked, stressed. Guy can catch some today, right? I'm kidding. It's not a personal attack on your belief. But I have noticed some of the most... I'm not going to say that. You know what? I'm not going to say that, Clint, because that would just be a rash. That would be a very just mean, unnecessary thing to say. What I will say is no amount of word in God, no amount of faith, however you want to define it as, is really going to make your current issues with yourself a whole lot better. It may give you guidance. Maybe really it's just a guidance handbook of stories of situations that you're going to come across. You find situations you come across, you attach it to these stories, and you use that as like, hey, this is what happened here. Let me try that, you know? Maybe there's something to that. But to me, you know, you can't follow what someone else's does. It's like bringing it back to the gym bro thing. You can't follow someone else's exact workout plan and expect the same results, because that's not everyone body responds the same. Not everyone genetics responds the same. Not everyone has the same stimuli of certain things. Some people are on stuff, some people are not. You may not be on a great, you may not be eating somebody. You know, there's so many things that could factor in that you can't just follow what works for someone else and expect to get the same or similar results. The same way you can't just read anyone's advice, anyone's life advice or books, and expect to just be like, oh, that's what they did, let me do that and I'll be all right. That's not how that works. Because you may not process, you may not have the emotional intelligence to deal with it that way yet, you know? But I don't know, you know? Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door, right? Yipperoo. Like, I'll tell you what, I'll say this, you can put my stamp in the ground, put my foot in some holy water, I don't care. I am 100% confident that you will never see me being baptized in any type of water. Because, you know, my skin's very sensitive. That may be too much spirituality for the boy. But I think, honestly, I would rather, you know, and maybe I'm wrong one day. I'm open to being wrong. And you know what? If my child, or even my wife, if she were to ever want to, you know, convert, that's up to her. You know, just keep that shit on the porch. Pray on the porch. You know, keep that away from me. You know, I think I don't know, maybe I think the thing that maybe just brought all this out is it's just a lot of complaining. It's always complaining about things, and I'm just kind of tired of seeing it. I'm tired of hearing people say, you know what, this is just a plan for the time. It's like, nah, you know what, you ignored this problem for 4 months, and that's why, you know, the shit that you're complaining about happened, you know. That's stuff like you be seeing, like these videos of people talking about, oh, you know, I did this and this. It's like, yeah, you were living in a $2,200 apartment. You were making $3,500. You had a car payment of $500. You had insurance of $150. That's on the low end. And you wanted to eat out every fucking day. So that $32 a day, that adds up. And that's why you're in debt. That's why you're broke. Yeah, that's why you putting shit on credit card you don't have. One day you're going to have to pay that shit. I don't know why people think credit cards are not fucking real money. Yeah, you are borrowing other people's money. And then interest rates get raised on everyone else to do everything because no one wants to fucking pay their fucking shit off. You know? And it puts us people that pay their shit on time every fucking month for all their bills. And it puts us in a bind because y'all want to just borrow money. And know you're not going to pay it off and say, hey, I'd rather invest in my business using other people's money. Oh, why? So that company can, you know, foreclose your fucking business and take it from you? One day you're going to have to pay that shit off. One day, this $100,000 you're borrowing from your credit card, it's got to be paid. There's minimum payments, bud. So no, it's not just play fucking money. This life isn't just play. There's no play faith. There's no play money. Jesus and money, it's real, okay? You can't just use other things for your convenience, you know? But that's why everything is digital. Everything is in cards. So you have no attachment to your money. That is why we are so disattached from society and socialization. We're disattached from our money. We're disattached from anything of real feeling because everything is structured for us to be so disattached that they want us to feel accustomed to working the amount of hours, making us feel guilty if we don't fucking stay for work. They want us to spend more money. Like the whole cash back thing, like if we're talking about credit cards, not to be your financial guru here, 2% cash back. Oh, great. I'm going to get 2% cash back. Great. You spend $200, you get what? $2? No, you get $4. Sorry. Congrats. You still just spent $196 that you didn't plan to fucking spend, buddy. And incentivize you to just see numbers in your account, just see number on a piece of paper, how much you have, and not actually know, because everything is just like, this how much comes out. It's just this numbers game we play. Like, when you spend money every month, like in your big bills, you probably don't feel like you actually spent, $1,800 for whatever your mortgage is. But you just spent $1,800. You just know we just become in this cycle. We're just accustomed to just, if we work this many hours, we'll have this much money and typically we'll be good. It's just a routine. We have no attachment to do better, to do worse, or to actually be present. It creates a lack of presence. That's the thing. No one's present. That's why we have these weird social ass clubs. We have these weird social clubs. We have these weird, desperation for the feel something in faith. And maybe, you know what, now I think about it, here's me coming full circle. We have become so disattached from reality. Maybe religion's the only thing. The faith is the only thing that feels like real human emotion. Maybe that's what it is, That's where Jesus gets to pluck your strings, You could harp on it. But yeah. I don't know. God's gay. Well, that was the name of one of the pornos I watched last week. Almighty Zeus. It was a thunderbolt, all right. I'm kidding. I don't watch porn. That's for you religious folks who wife never puts out for you. You polygamous Mormons. Not there's anything wrong with being Mormon or polygamous, but who the fuck would want to take care of 40 women? Like, who the fuck would want to hear 40 women talk about their day in one day, One's enough. Maybe two. If you have a daughter. I'm saying, man. All I'm saying is that I think you people, if God has convinced you to have such low self-worth that you have one ugly ass man who makes $120K a year juggling all 6 or 7 of you, I think you're the one with the problem, Because, these guys, I gotta say, these guys, I give them all the credit in the world. These guys who have, these 5 or 6 different wives, they are not these dudes that are like, on these dating, they do not look like Harry Jowsey. I can tell you that much. Because love has to be blind looking at these motherfuckers, I'm telling you. And, and all the women, they look the fucking same. No insult, Like, they're all the same relatively height. They're all the same size-ish. They're all, like, same beliefs. They all, huge ass breasts from all the breastfeeding, because they're just popping kids in them left and right. All the power to them. Probably have to start drinking soy milk just to regenerate their lactate. I don't even know that's how it works. It's not. It's soy milk, almond milk. It's not even real fucking milk. It's just water filtered with fucking unflavored. Like, who the fuck would want unsweetened almonds in their milk? Like, you're just pouring fucking water. Milky water. It's like if you have soap in a pan, that's what it fucking tastes like. I don't know. Some people might bathe in it. Some people like almond butter. Some people bathe in almond butter. That'd be kind of grainy though. It'd be like Nutella, but there's nothing new to Nutella. I'm a fool. But hey, you know what? All the power to y'all. Yeah. One day, they talk about Judgment Day, which is fascinating to me, They always say the only person I need to be judged by, the only person I need to worry being judged by is God on Judgment Day. I'm like, you really think God's waiting on your ugly ass? Like, he's like, I had you be a healthy ass weight. I made sure you came out of the womb 7 pounds 8 ounces. I gave you great parents. They raised you right. I was watching your lineage and projection of life. And then here you come looking at me. And, you got acne all over the place. You fell into a couple rough alcoholic phases in your life. You have boys dump you. They told you to stop eating out every day. And here you are coming at me. You know what? Fuck y'all. I'm judging y'all. Kicking you back down to earth and reincarnated into a snail. And then you could be eating in someone's bowl in Spain. And you're... Oh, don't forget, add a little spice. 3 chili flakes, And you never seasoned your eggs. God damn it. I don't know why is it. You put more seasoning on your deviled eggs than you do your roasted chicken, you dumbass bitch. Like, sitting there putting pumpkin spice and paprika. Like, oops, I just thought it would be a little sweet and spicy. I don't want this in my dry ass eggs, It's always old people. They put the deviled eggs on the piano, on top next to the fucking scroll card of hot cross buns, and you got these kids coming over on New Year's playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, eating deviled eggs, and they wonder why I fart, It's just like, I do not know what's with old people and these deviled eggs. Like, I don't get the whole dry egg thing, I don't get boiling eggs. Like, boil it just like smells like fart. It literally smells like after you eat eggs and when you fart. But people have no problem eating them in the farting stage. I mean, think about it. Egg comes out of a chicken's ass, so technically we're eating something out of an ass. Hey, we're all ass eaters, but hey, gains are gains. And so we're eating eggs, popping. Apparently a chicken produces minimum 1 egg a day. So if you have like 85 chickens, you could survive doomsday because you'll have 85 eggs every fucking day. Like, I just need to buy like 20 chickens. I'll be good. Buy 20 chickens, put them on the porch. Hopefully a big lizard doesn't eat them. And, I have 20 eggs every day to eat. I'll be good. I don't know how cheap it would be because then you got to feed them. Got to watch out for Monsanto. And God forbid, I wouldn't want to pay another pet fee. They're not really pets if I'm eating them. I'm not eating them. Just eat what they produce. But then that's a weird relationship you have with your pet. If you're like, hey, thanks. And they eat them right in front of them while you're petting them. Yeah. It's a circle of life. Nala. Because the Lion King. Get it? Okay. Oh, that's a double entendre joke. that only me and me get. But yeah, me too. No movement here though. Don't worry, it's coming for all of us. But yeah, I guess the moral of all that is stay out of the textbooks, and just know you are always being judged, and deservingly so. Because you know what? You should care more about the people you impact on a daily basis more than this potentially, I don't want to say definite because I don't want to make y'all too mad, but this potentially figure of speech, fictional figure, when really maybe God is not really a human being. It's an embodiment of just the best version you should try to be, but it's not an actual person. So really, if you're the best version you could be, when you die, the only person that'll be judging you is you. Maybe we're just all in this race to whoever the best person that ever lived on this earth is God. And that person will judge every person until there's a person that's better than them. So once I'm dead, I'm going to be like Michael Jordan in his prime, baby. Just killing all you motherfuckers. Crossing you over, ankle breaking, pussy stanking. And I'll tell you all. I'll be like, you know what's the problem? I'll be looking at you your whole life, and I'll be like, damn, you were doing pretty good till like 37, and then I don't know what happened. You started going for runs, and I saw the thoughts you had. You started overpaying for groceries, and you started going vegan, and you stood up that one guy at that seafood place that you stood him up because you thought, oh, he's only 5'9", and you stood him up for another guy because he was 6'2", and then that guy ended up, fucking your sister. So on that point, you're going to hell, bitch. You don't stand up good guys on dates that you agreed to go on. And that's how I would judge you. Your whole life summed up by a 5-minute decision you make. Because you know what? We're all a sum of all of our decisions. But some decisions stick out more than others. But luckily, I'm not 5'9", so I've never had that problem. But yeah, that was episode 283 of the Often Be podcast with Clint Nelson. I'm your host, Clint Nelson. Jesus. I like these shorts. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, most important ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to suck some titties. Just, be mindful of recovery days for those. Sometime in the next century, whenever I actually get around to doing my whole things, would you rather have a good ting or a good tang? Would you rather have a boo ting or a boo thang? Yada 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 yada. All right. Oh, my nose is itching.